Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker. It's an honour to be called to make my maiden speech as a Member of Parliament for Maidenhead, a place I've always been proud to call home. And I'd like to recognise the Honourable Member for Peterborough for his fantastic maiden speech. It's clear from his speech his passion for his constituency, and I know he will be a fantastic representative of them. Next time I'm putting mustard on one of my ham sandwiches, I will be thinking of him and his constituency. Maybe not of the pun that he put in as well. As a new MP, Madam Deputy Speaker, I was sent a very early email by the fantastic team at the House of Commons Library with maiden speeches from my predecessors to get an idea about what I may like to say. But considering my constituency Maidenhead has only had one MP prior to myself since 1997, there wasn't a lot for me to go off. I must therefore start by paying tribute to that predecessor, Theresa May, who represented the Maidenhead constituency for 27 years. During her time on the front benches and in number 10, she made sure that she put Maidenhead first, once famously having spent a week of late nights in the EU having negotiations, only to get straight off the plane in London and heading for a school carol concert in the town centre. Although I disagree with her on many things, her dedication to the people of Maidenhead is something that I admire and hope to emulate. Hers are big and often very much reported by the media shoes to fill. Unlike my namesake, Sir Joshua Reynolds, I cannot paint to save my life. But fortunately for me and for my constituents, the village of Cookham in my constituency has given us Stanley Spencer. His work memorialised in the Stanley Spencer Gallery on the High Street. We're lucky to still have a thriving art scene around Maidenhead and around all of our villages. Madam Deputy Speaker, Maidenhead is a special place. It has a rich history. It's where Charles I met his children for the last time in the Greyhound Inn, now home to NatWest, before his execution in 1649. Fortunately, should visitors to Maidenhead today want to come to see us, they would discover a fantastic array of places to eat. The village of Bray in the constituency has no less than 7 Michelin stars to its name. But to find fantastic food in Maidenhead, you don't need to go to a restaurant that's been approved by the Michelin Man. You can go to Baked, Tomo, Sauce and Flour, The Borough and Seasonality, all some of the fantastic places that Maidenhead has to offer. And any time you fancy a trip down the Elizabeth line, Madam Deputy Speaker, I'm more than welcome to take you to any of them. Part of Maidenhead's history has always been for the bridge over the Thames, and soon after the first bridge was put up in 1280, the town started to build. The current incarnation of Maidenhead Bridge has been standing since the mid-1800s. The toll on Maidenhead Bridge was removed on the night of the 31st of October 1903, in a move that, had it been done today, probably wouldn't have been worthy of attention from the Office of Budget Responsibilities. However, it was so significant to residents of Maidenhead that they gathered by the bridge, and as the clock struck midnight, they took the tolls down and threw them into the river. Another part of our history, famous for bridges, is the Brunel-designed Maidenhead Railway Bridge, otherwise known as the Sounding Arch, opened in 1839, attracting significant attention for its innovative, low-rise arch design. Now, sceptical bosses at Great Western Railway insisted that he leave the scaffolding in place because they didn't believe it to be safe. Rumour has it, though, that Brunel complied with their request. Knowing it wasn't actually necessary, he decided not to attach the scaffolding to the bridge. Now, sure enough, the wooden structure was soon blown away by a storm, and Brunel's bridge has stood the test of time ever since. Maidenhead was also home to the late Sir Nicholas Winton, who's remembered in the Nicholas Winton Memorial Gardens in Oaken Grove Park and on a statue at Platform 3 of Maidenhead Station. Sir Nicholas, dubbed by the press as the British Schindler, helped to save the lives of 669 children who were evacuated from Czechoslovakia to Britain as part of the Kindertransport in 1939. Sir Nicholas left us in 2015, having reached the grand age of 106. But his life and legacy as one of the great humanitarians is remembered in the town. It's fair to say, Madam Deputy Speaker, that the Palace of Westminster is slightly larger than Maidenhead Town Hall, where I was recently a cabinet member for Communities and Leisure. However, what the Town Hall lacks in its grandeur, statues and stained glass windows, it makes up for in its television claim to fame. I am, of course, talking about the fact that it was used as a location for Carry On Doctor. I often saw, when I was working in the town hall, an excited fan run up to the building to take photos, only then to look slightly disappointed, knowing they travelled so far to see a 1960s office block. Last but not least on today's Maiden History Tour, we cannot fail to mention that the Spice Girls once famously shared a house in Maidenhead before they burst onto the music scene in 1996. I say that even if it was 3 years before I was born. Now, Maidenhead is so much more than just the town of Maidenhead itself. I've already mentioned Cookham, which has been part of the constituency since it was established in 1997, and I've mentioned Bray, which moved into Maidenhead from the Windsor constituency, bringing those Michelin stars along with it. But it's also home to Binfield, Warfield and Winkfield, which moved into the constituency at this election. They may be the newest parts of the constituency, but they are just as important as the rest of it. And I look forward to spending time in each of them over the next few weeks as we head into recess. Madam Deputy Speaker, I must pay tribute to Maidenhead's fantastic primary and secondary schools. They work to give pupils from all walks of life and all abilities the best start that they can have. And I'm hugely grateful for my teachers in Alwyn, Courthouse and First Platt Senior School for the work they gave me and the help. Without it, I wouldn't be here in this house today speaking to you. It would be remiss of me, however, not to talk about the challenges that we face locally. Significant number of residents in my community live in poverty. Homelessness is on the rise, along with the reliance on food banks. And our local baby bank, founded by local residents Rebecca and Councillor Amy Teasey, are seeing increased demand for their services. We must take action on fuel poverty, extending free school meals, and restoring the basic standard of living that vulnerable residents need the most. Health services are patchy in Maidenhead, with GP surgeries under phenomenal pressure and the nearest general hospital being over in Slough. I'm determined to see the walk-in centre reopened at St Mark's Hospital after it was closed down as a temporary measure at the beginning of COVID lockdown. I want to see the site expanded to cope with all of the new homes and developments that are being built and proposed for the area. My promise to residents is that I will not let up in my efforts to close the health gap in Maidenhead. Maidenhead is a beautiful constituency, but if we are not careful, its waterways, from Binfield Cut in the south to the Thames in the north, will become open sewers. And I've pledged to residents in Cookham, Hurley, the Walthams, Bray, Binfield, Warfield, Winkfield and North Ascot that I will fight tirelessly to clean up their rivers. And I look forward to working with every single one of my colleagues in this house over the next few years to help make that happen. Thank you.